Hey, Larry D here. I have been working on a project to make a collapsible bucksaw. Now, before I go on, I want to say, I make stuff. I made a shelf for the bathroom. I made a rustic towel rack. Table outside. When I redid the kitchen, I rebuilt all the cupboards myself. Do all this stuff. This thing has given me fits. I don't know why. It's just driven me crazy for some odd reason. Probably not planned well enough. I haven't been doing much videos lately. I had some sort of like Martian flu or something that really knocked me down for a while, knocked my wife down in December. So it's been, maybe that affected my brain. I just do not know. But here's the point. Collapsible bucksaw. Everybody in the world has made these things on the internet. And I'm just another one of the guys. What I did here on each corner, instead of just a bolt with a wing nut, which I am going to change, I used some of the nylon lock nuts because I had this fear of that you're going to drop a wing nut off, it's going to come off, you lose it in the woods. That's fine, except you need a tool to be able to remove the blade, whereas with a wing nut you wouldn't. So this is going to be replaced with a wing nut and a lock washer. I made this from this wood here. This was from a old bed frame. It was probably 40, 50 years old. Do not know what kind of wood it is. If anybody out there has any clue, please let me know. I'll get this up here so you can see grain structure. I have no idea what kind of wood it is. All I know is it's a little harder than regular pine. I've seen guys make these out of pine, and they hold up just fine. So I figured something like this. Let me tear it down. I have some finish sanding to do yet on it. And eventually, the windlass, or whichever you call it, up here, is going to be replaced with a rod. I have some ideas for that. And I'll probably also carve a handle into here. But this is just a basic thing that if I'd have had my wits about me, I should have been able to build in about an hour at the most. Okay, so let me tear it down. I made it so it folds up into the bottom, and you'll be able to see that. I did have some other wood that I had thought of using from a pallet, but it turns out it was filled with nails and made for a mess. Okay, so take off our tie here across. Support. Then what I did here was used my circular saw to cut a slot, so when I fold it up, the blade folds into the handles. Real common design, everybody out there doing that. Up here, I used a round rasp thing, and actually ended up using a rat tail file to make grooves for the paracord to go into. And the blade is a Bahco 24-inch blade I got at Bens Backwoods, which is a real good place to shop. They got good selection of backcountry kind of stuff and reasonable prices. This blade is incredibly flexible. You can see on the edges here, the teeth are tempered, which is the proper way to do things, and the blade remains flexible and not brittle. So Bahco blades are excellent. The blades that I've gotten on local saws, like at Home Depot or Lowe's or something, the blades have been terrible. So again, let me just yank this blade out. These are just 2 1/4 20 bolts. I think the bolts cost me about 50 cents each, nut and bolt. And these are the nylon lock type. And again, I did that out of concern that oh gee, what if the wing nut fell off? But I'm not going to be so worried about that. So these were $1. Got them at Ace Hardware. The blade was, I believe, about $8 from Bens. I had the paracord. This is that other harder wood that I was saying from the pallet. Using that for the toggle. Rest of this all came from this kind of wood right here. Other piece of it is, you know, about 3 feet long. So I just cut this down, sand it. So this whole thing cost me about $10. That's including the $9 blade and whatever I paid for shipping. So I bought a couple other things from Bens. So I'm going to get back to doing a little bit of finish sanding here. And when I'm done, I'll come back and show you what finish I'm going to put on. And again, folds right up, and I will be back in a couple after I get done sanding a bit. Okay, I'm back. Finished sanding it with some 220 grit paper just to finish it up. I'm not going crazy on this. And going to put some linseed oil on it. If you want to see a really nice saw, a saw that was really well done, Bartering Bushcraft, and I will put a link to him in my description. It's kind of funny to me. He said, well, I'm a woodworker, and I guess, should make one. He made it out of teak. It is gorgeous. Beautiful piece of work. And real talented guy. He also did want to making a bush coat or whatever you want to call it. Really did a nice job on that too. So check him out. I'll put that link in the description below. But yeah, I sanded it down. One of the things I did here when I was sanding was I rounded the edge of the slot. So that way that saw blade will slip in a little easier. Both sides here. And like I said, I had used like a rasp and then a rat tail file to get a real smooth surface here for the cord to go around. Obviously this straight piece of wood. The toggle, again, I put the notches in. That actually, I had put it on there. My wife comes in and says, you know, you really should have notches or something. I said, oh yeah, you're right. So that was a great suggestion. Put that in there. Got this all sanded. So I'm going to put a coat of boiled linseed oil on. Now remember, by the way, when you use linseed oil, when you get rid of the rags, don't put them bunched up. The linseed oil breaks down. It will produce heat, and I've never had it happen, and I've linseed oiled a bunch of stuff, but you can actually get a fire going. So that's not something any of us want to have happen. So yep, just gonna put a coat of linseed oil on this. Ooh, that's nice. I'll probably put a couple coats by the time I get done. Linseed oil, you put it on, let it kind of set, and after about 10 minutes, I'll be wiping it off. But you can see how it just brings out the grain in this stuff. And like I said, it'll protect the wood. So that is what we want. It will waterproof it to a certain extent. You know, there's the old thing about put it on once a day, once a week, once a month, once a year or something. I don't know. Just put it on. But yeah, this has worked out really well, other than the mistakes I made. One of which, when I was cutting this slot out, I cut down, I was using my chisel, I went a little far with one of the cuts. Oh, I'll just level it out, which made me then have to take the blade and move it in one. That wasn't a big deal. But, you know, it was those things. Like I say, I'm going to blame it on the Martian flu or whatever that I had that's messed with my brain. But yeah, this stuff is just sucking right into the wood. It's bringing the grain right out. I really like this. So that's it. It's not that hard. I made this quick one. I want to make a better one, nicer one, with some hardwood. And now that I have made all the mistakes on this one, I hopefully won't be making them on the next one. So that's it. Larry D here. Get out there, grab some scrap wood. Like I say, you can make it out of wood from a pallet. I don't even know where I got this bed frame one. Something in the garage for eons, who knows. And you make what you can, you know, why? You don't got to spend any money. It's the way to go. But look at that. It's just coming right out. Okay, so Larry D here. Sit down, take a look at some of the other channels out there. Look at Bartering Bushcraft. You'll love his saw. I mean, it was just so cool. Teak. You know? And like I say, he's a woodworker, so he did it right. And probably only took him a little bit to do it. Okay, Larry D out. Go out there, have some fun in the outdoors. Have some fun in the bushcraft stuff. Pass information along. If you like what you see here, do me a favor, subscribe. Tell your friends about it, share it. But either way, we all share this information because that's what the outdoor and bushcraft community is about, is helping everybody out. So thanks. Go out there, have some fun in the outdoors. And as always, be safe.